Who's the new guy? I don't know, but I like him. He just looks like a discount knockoff Rollo History Channel cliche. No, he looks like a real Viking, a true Viking, a hero. What are you two talking about? Discount knockoff Rollo. What did the women say? Wait, the what? He just calls you a girl. Shut up, I take it back. I really like this guy. I really like him. Why do you use a woman's weapon? All right, okay, first off, this is not a woman's weapon. It takes a lot of strength to use. And secondly, the Danish and the Norse also used bows. In fact, they had U-bows as well. Wouldn't you want that if you're raiding? I don't know, I think he's right. I don't think that's true. I think that they didn't use bows, because I mean, I watch a lot of history and I've never seen Ragnar use a bow. And don't say because you're a Viking, because I swear Vikings would not call themselves that. It was the Danish, the Norse, the Northmen, something like that. That was a much more modern invention, the Viking thing. So don't even start, don't start. You don't go to Valhalla using a bow. Oh my gosh, Valhalla, yeah. All right, but I will give you this. That axe is pretty cool. What do you think you can break with it? That's what I'm talking about, Ranger. That's what I'm talking about. New guy, let's smash some stuff. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerd and nerdettes. Now, I have my newest Christmas present here, and it is an axe. So this isn't as large as like a two-handed Danish axe. This can be used with two hands or one hand. It's a Peterson L-type axe, which actually has to do with the shape of the axe head. This was like in the 11th to 12th century. So it has to do with the shape of the blade and the actual head itself. So that's how they quantify it. And then Peterson also uses it, like say, for the swords. A lot of the Peterson scale has to do with the sword hilts. And so this is an H-type, for example, here, where it has the H shape. There's O shapes and L shapes and M shapes. And so that's a different classification of a lot of the weapons is based on the Peterson scale. So this one here, like I said, L-type, and it was the 11th to 12th century. I'm gonna try it out and see how it does against a couple different things in the armory here, how they defend against it. And I'm also compare it to the single-bladed Viking sword I have here as well to see how they compare with an axe versus a sword. Now, Boromir here has seen better days. He can't stand up quite the way he used to, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have it as the backing here, just because it actually provides a pretty stable backdrop for it, so it's not gonna wiggle around when I strike it. But this is gonna be starting off with the wooden shield. As you've seen before, this is held up to a lot. And I'm gonna curious to see how a wood chopping axe almost, will do against wood. Let's see. So coming downwards like that, I got a much better cut. I think my edge alignment was better. And you can see here, that buckled into the shield quite a decent ways. It stuck in there well. And again, the big thing is once you get it in, gonna have a bit of a harder time getting out. But the way it's angled, once you get into that wood, it's actually not too hard to take it out. Honestly, and this thing is holding up really well. I always have reservations with wooden weapons. This is a hickory handle, so it's strong, it's fitted really well, and there's no looseness in it just yet, so that's a solid sign so far. Now naturally the axe did very well against the shield, but what I want to do now is see comparatively how this will do against it as well. I'm going to try some thrusts with it also, and then I'll try some slashes to the side and compare the results for each of them. The thrusting test, this isn't really a great thrusting sword. It has to do with the grip. You have to kind of use a handshake grip with it, so you don't have a good thrust with it necessarily, but I'm gonna do some slashes to the side as well, because this is more of a slashing sword because of the single-bladed edge. But this single-bladed sword was actually a bit more common than the double-bladed sword because they were a little bit easier to forge as well. So I'm gonna take some slashes against this shield here and see how I can do and see if it gets stuck in there, because that would be one of the problems, right? All right, so overall good depth and penetration in it. And once you're in, it's actually not too hard to get out, but again, if it gets caught in there, you're gonna be a spot of bother. So you really wouldn't wanna take large overarching swings like that realistically, because you get bound up, you know, like clinched up, and then you wouldn't be able to defend yourself. But definitely the axe has an edge when it's just come to blunt impact force. It's all situational, of course. What kind of armor is your enemy wearing? What have you been trained with? What's the battle type? Is it a shield battle? Is it something where it's going to be a duel? Those are all variables, so one thing's never better than the other. Some just perform better at certain tasks. So next thing I really want to try is a steel shield. Now this is not the hardened steel. I'm relatively certain I know how that will go. This is a mild steel, so 16 gauge. And I feel it'll be like a lower end steel of the time, a little more malleable, and I'm just curious how an axe will do, because it's not a pointed end, right? It's got a point at the top, but it's got a lot of heft to it, and I feel like it'll do pretty good. I don't know, it'll hurt my hands, I'm sure, but it'll be fun to see. All right, so against the shield, we have got a nice little marking in there. Of course, this thing is obviously damaged, you can see, but that hit was right here. So this part here, it went into the deepest, but you can see the back where it protruded out a little bit there. And that's where you're gonna be that mild steel. So it's more malleable than a hardened steel. Still a good impact, but that doesn't have enough mass to definitely poke through. There's not like a tapered point or anything, so you'd really need a really heavy duty two-handed axe, I would think, to actually hope to puncture steel of this, because this thing's about like 3 pounds, I think in total, 2.5 pounds, and I just don't think that's enough to get through anything with steel. All right, now one more thing I want to try is I want to try and come like it straight down. So let's say someone props up and they get into cover, or they're covering up and you come down on top of it. Not necessarily something that I think may happen, but I want to see if I'm coming at a downward angle with it, with the shield more flush, how that's going to respond. But I also want to test it with that straight attack versus a jumping attack, because you see in every movie a jumping attack, more power, more damage. I want to see if a jumping attack from a high distance can in fact cause it to do any more significant damage than just a standard overhead strike. So that was actually kind of interesting, because I figured I'd have more leverage and a better ability to go deeper into it, but those strikes were right in here and here. So the first one, the deepest one, was right here, so it buckled it in a little bit right there, but it didn't do as well as the other ones, which were here and here, because I feel what was happening is I was coming down at more of a flush angle here, The other ones, it was hitting at more of this point here and dragging down and into it across, as opposed to a straight down, and it's dispersing that energy a little bit more. So significantly less damage just coming straight down the top of it. So that was counter to what I thought. I thought I'd have a lot more power coming down that way, and I'm sure it's harder, but it did less damage to the shield. So that was cool, surprising. Well, I'll be darned, that was almost the best one. I guess there was a little bit of truth to that. Coming downwards, that punched through into the back, so that was coming through backside a little bit right there. So I guess that extra momentum, even though my feet did hit first, was just me coming down with that leverage coming down on top of it. So jumping attacks onto a shield, yeah, that would do it. You know, new guy's doing pretty good out there, but I think we need something else for him to smash. I agree. I mean, I've never really been overly fond of axes myself, but he's doing pretty good. Might be cool to see something like modern, huh? What you beta nerds talking about? Loot! However, one thing I do want to try to mix it up a little bit is I have this Kevlar helmet, and I feel like there's a chance that it might do okay against this. I don't know why, but I definitely think that against the Kevlar helmet, I might have a chance to do some good damage with it. I think with a good hit, we'll see. Pretty cool. I've never actually seen like the inside of one of these. I took 3 strikes. The first one was bad, that was low. The second one was right here, and when my hand hit, it glanced a bit, but you can see all those interlocking layers on the Kevlar there. And the other one was straight down, and that was right on top here. So none of them went all the way through. I can feel that basically it stopped it from penetrating the entire way, but that was probably the best one right there. Just shaved it off well. This one went the deepest, but even with that deepest strike right there, I wasn't able to get all the way in. It's so silly. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I just wanted to. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed. I was trying to think of more things for this one, but the reality is the majority of my channel is if I hit 2 things together really hard, what will happen? It's definitely proved its valor and its worth, so we are going forward. Man, that shield is just hanging on by a thread, but I almost feel bad getting the other one because it's got so much personality, let's say. Until next time, I hope you guys enjoy. Lots more fun to be had and lots more things to break.